Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our monthly welcome to our monthly meeting of the Neuse Charter School Board of Directors. Welcome. It's good to see everybody, and we hope everything has gone well with the opening of another school year. Yay! I'd like to start by reading our ethics statement for North Carolina State Government. We'll let our very dapper chairperson, Mr. Duffin, have the honor of reading this.
Thank you for bearing with my tardiness. Welcome everyone to the meeting. I'm sure Dawn has already conveyed those welcomes. This is the first Neuse Charter School Board of Directors meeting under our new executive director, Ms. Susan Pulliam, and for this new calendar, our academic year. Before we get started, I would like to read an ethics statement for North Carolina State Municipalities and Government. I will read, and I will then ask, starting with Rodney, to affirm any conflicts of interest. Conflict of interest reminder for North Carolina General Statute 138A-15E. Board members are reminded that it is our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of this board. Does any member of the board know of any conflict of interest or any appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record. I will start saying I am not aware of any conflict or perceived conflict of interest with tonight's agenda. Mr. Dunn?
None. None. None that I'm aware of, sir.
None that I'm aware of.
Having read and heard, there are no conflicts of interest or need to abstain at this time. I'll start with celebrations and recognitions. Susan?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vice Chair. I'm recovering from an upper respiratory, so I apologize for the change in voice. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about some wonderful things that have been happening on Neuse Charter's campus. Before I begin with some updates, I do want to let you know that beginning with our September meeting, we're going to start having monthly showcases of student performances specifically related to our character education program. So you'll start to see a monthly awards recognition program for students that are meeting our character education program goals and exemplifying those character traits. We'll learn more about that at our September meeting, and we'll have breakdowns of those for age groups in the K-2 category, 3, 5, 6, 8, and 9, 12. As far as faculty are concerned, we heard a little bit about one of these recognitions at your June meeting. I was here, but it wasn't my pen. And so I would ask Angela Jenkins and Sue Wilson to stand if they're present. They did receive a fellowship with the North Carolina Museum of Art, and we are the only school in this part of the state that were awarded this opportunity. Ms. Jenkins and Ms. Wilson have attended the initial training and are now in the process of designing lesson plans and collaborating with each other and teachers across the school. The fellowship will meet monthly throughout the year and will create a minimum of 2 lesson plans to be presented to teachers across the state. They also received a $1,000 grant to apply toward technology for their classes. And one of their quotes was, "We are very excited to represent Neuse and have thoroughly enjoyed the adventure thus far." We take a moment.
That's so good we had to recognize you twice.
We didn't get to do it as staff.
Okay, well earned.
And it's fully underway. I'm not sure if any of these teachers are in the audience, but we'd also like to take an opportunity to recognize Samantha Dunn, Lori McLeod, Carrie Radman, and Carla Stern. They operated our first ever summer reading camp for rising first and second graders using Read to Achieve funding. The first and second graders came to Camp Read a Lot for a bonus 3-week period this summer to enhance their reading skills and get the boost they needed for the coming school year. All campers became more confident in their reading abilities, increased their reading fluency and comprehension, and began to develop a love of reading. They were able to see how fun reading can be and flourished in the environment that was created. Their quote, "It was a wonderful experience for all involved." Hopefully our first and second grade teachers are seeing the benefits of that program already in this first week plus of school. From a staff showcase perspective, looking toward our administrative and office support, I wanted to give a special thank you to what I'm deeming our summer crew. We had so many things to be done this summer with very few persons to accomplish those tasks. There was much to be done, and we had an amazing opening. The team truly embodies the charter spirit. They work together to learn new systems, recruit and hire new staff, evaluate all middle and high school schedules such that for the first time, everyone received a complete one-year schedule so they could see the full academic plan for their school year. We developed a year-long professional development plan for all of faculty. We opened our new kindergarten wing. We secured over 100 pieces of free furniture from St. David's School in Raleigh. A lot of sweat on that one. And we managed to operate our first summer reading camp for our rising first and second graders. And there was much, much more. But at this time, I'd like to do a special volunteer shout out. We had 2 staff members who came and gave of their time freely during the summer, Ms. Jessica Brink and Jeannie White. Not sure if you're here, but I'd like to. Ms. Jeannie White was one that went on several trips to St. David's School for all of the muscling of getting the furniture. And Ms. Jessica Brink helped us tremendously with some of our filing needs. From a staff perspective, I'd like to recognize William Dixon, Lauren Fail, Angela Walker, Brad Williams, and Amy Turnbull for that team and summer crew spirit. And I think it needs to stand alone. Ms. Sharon Johnson really shepherded this team over the summer and was very gracious in onboarding me during that process and dealing with the fact that I didn't know anything that was happening at this school, but yet let me blend right into those processes and be a part of that team. And so together, I think we've had one of our smoothest openings ever for News Charter. Some other things to celebrate is we opened school. We have had 7 days of classes with an enrollment ranging anywhere from 911 students to 923 students on campus. Technically, we have 931 students on the books, but we are calculating an average of, not an average, I'm going to retract that. We are calculating an ADM of 920 students as of 10 o'clock this morning. We are continuously working on all of our records transfers and so forth, and we expect that number to at the very least hold, if not rise. We opened our newest building, as I mentioned earlier, with the addition of the 4 brand new kindergarten classrooms. These new rooms have been able to allow us to keep our class sizes at 18, and also allow us to build a strong program for first grade. We're welcoming 58 returning staff to our campus, 47 of which are teachers, 4 teacher assistants, and 6 central office support members. And we welcomed 22 brand new to new staff members this year, 14 teachers, 6 teacher assistants, and then 2 central office. We celebrated the kickoff to the class of 2017's year-long celebration as they prepare for their senior class activities with the breakfast on August 19th, hosting about 50 students. And because it is such a key part of our physical activity of the day, we would like to talk about parking. It has been amazing. We've been wrapping it up within 10 minutes better than times last year, already in our first week and second week of school. We've got some really great systems, and we're very, very thankful to our parents and to our staff as we've adapted some new safety procedures, some new traffic management procedures, mostly to allow for our kindergarten students to be able to be picked up and dropped off right here at the front of the school since the wing is so close to that parking area. But again, over 930 students getting on and off campus in less than an hour deserves some true thanks and praise to all of us.
Very good. At this time, we will open the floor for anyone for any public comment. The floor is open and the floor is closed. We had no one to sign up. As this procedure, moving forward, for those of you that may be new to the meeting, if you would like to speak during the public comment period, we do require that you sign up time limits are typically 3 minutes to 5 minutes, but most times they are 3 minutes due to the length of our agenda. We do welcome public comments. It is not required, and it's typically the practice of this board not to respond to public comments during this meeting, but to take those into session as necessary and needed. I will say that it is once again very exciting to be a part of the new academic year. Each year, as we have our challenges, we also have our rewards, and we also have our recognitions, as you've heard so far. The school has continued to grow in a positive way. This school has continued to be challenged, and the school has continued to meet these challenges, not by this board, but by the staff, the faculty, and the parents, those of you that are sitting here, and those that believe in the mission and the goal of this school. There are those that will continue to see us prosper, and there will always be those who wish for alternative success. We welcome the comments, we welcome the input from all of those parties, but one thing stands clear: the student will come first in this charter, and the school will come second. So I just say that as my little welcome. I do not speak on behalf of the board, but I do speak from the chair to tell you that we're looking forward and are as excited as ever about our fiscal, physical, and capital structure, our leadership, as well as where we think we're headed to be. We have had some difficult challenges. We've had some things to come up that were expected, and some things to come up that were unexpected, and they will occur each and every month. And I'll probably speak for Susan and Sharon, they come up each and every hour. But together we get through this. Those of you that have stuck through it with us, we appreciate it. Those of you that have not, we appreciate you as well, because you have made us stronger and proven our resolve and proven that our mission and our goal stands above anything uncharted by those who try to be an obstacle. So with that, I will accept the motion for approval of the minutes from the June 28, 2016 meeting. I have a motion. Is there a second? A second. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all in favor of approving the June 28, 2016 minutes, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimous. Or minutes approved unanimous. Next for approval, we have our July 2016 minutes. In your packet, if there is any review or discussion, if not, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the July 16 meeting. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all in favor, let it be known to approve the minutes by signifying aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried unanimous. Ms. Margaret Morgan Lee with a PTO, Mr. Dale Ham. PTO report, please, sir.
She just emailed this to me. First, I would like to apologize for her not being here.
You are here.
Well, marvelous. So, it looks like on August the 16th, they had their first general. She literally just texted me. They had their first general meeting on August the 16th. Looks like they covered a lot of information. One is how to increase parent involvement in the PTO organization, and also increase the communication. And it looks like one of the big things was fundraisers and PTO events. The most recent one, the one coming up, is they're going to continue to do the Yankee Candle sale. I think they said last year they raised $20,000 for the school, so that will start September 7th, and there will be incentives for students in the elementary and middle school and high school. And it looks like they just covered a lot more fundraisers than we did so far this year.
That's a lot of candles.
Yes, sir. Make sure that it's raised over, same fundraisers last school year, raised over $20,000.
Thank you, sir. And congratulations to the new office holders of the PTO. And congratulations, Mr. Lynch, our new Booster Club president, correct?
Yes, sir.
Floor is yours, Mr. Lynch, for the booster report.
The Booster Club is not actually held our first meeting of the new year. It will be held on September 20th at 6:30. On the agenda is discussion of fundraisers for the coming year. We have started off this year, this past week, with our lunch program that's back in full swing. And as far as I can tell, no glitches this run. So I haven't heard any complaints, so that's a good thing. Other than that, fundraisers we're looking at that we did last year. Before too long to discuss some of the specifics about the foundation. That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, I'd like to know at this time that session stand was spent by the whole department.
Yeah.
Not so less 40 to 72 hours, receiving 100.0 sanitation grade rating.
All right.
The Booster Club is responsible for the upkeep of the building.
Good news, thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. Ms. Williams, director's report, please.
Again, thank you for this opportunity to share some updates with you. In the future, during this portion of the agenda, I will share with you enrollment information. We've already covered that. And again, I'll give you some staff information. I gave you the breakdown, but I didn't give you the total. We do have 80 members on our staff this year when we're fully staffed. Again, serving over 920 to 930 students each day. We expect to have all of our biographies and staff photos updated and posted to the website prior to the next board meeting. Again, we're onboarding teachers as most recently as yesterday. We had some teachers start with us. We do currently have 2 vacancies to announce. One is our media center teacher. She will be completing her duties this Friday, and so we'll be looking to replace that position. And our business manager is taking the position as well. So that position is open. As far as assessment information goes, we have a little bit of information from the 15-16 school year. Results are still preliminary as the State Board of Education has not approved and finalized all of those data sets. Right now, it's looking as if our growth standard is going to be met as compared to exceeded in the 14-15 school year. What we noticed initially is that we're pretty steady in most of our categories, particularly in achievement. But we did have notable improvement in our EOG math grades. Right now, the preliminary results are looking as if we went from a 68, which would have been a C in the 14-15, to a 72, which is a B in the 15-16 school year. So the efforts that were put into place last year to improve those math scores were sufficient. Now we've got to get over the hump and get some growth in those other categories as well. So we'll be reviewing all data sets available as they become finalized and are released for teachers and staff. We'll be working with our professional learning communities, or PLCs, and our staff groups to make sure we're evaluating those data sets and making decisions based on that data so that we can improve not only our areas of need, but our areas of strength as well. We don't want to continue riding flat in areas where we're doing well. We want to always be seeking to be a continuous improvement organization, and we certainly want to make sure our students are having the best opportunities possible to grow. We'll have a more comprehensive report hopefully at the September meeting if the board follows its normal timeline. That is the State Board of Education. They generally will finalize those results in September. If not, I'll need another more. For 16-17, just a couple of early highlights for our high school program. Right now we have 89 students enrolled in our AP course curriculum, and that's just 6 different courses. So as of today, we have a lot of students that are taking advantage of the advanced place curriculum. In addition, we have 10 students who are currently enrolled for the JCC courses for this fall semester, and we'll start working on spring enrollments in the October-November time period. In addition, the guidance department and administration will be meeting with staff over at the community college to talk about enhancing and growing our partnerships there to offer more opportunities for our students. As far as upcoming events go, next week we'll be having our 3rd grade EOG. If that's a new term for you, that's the beginning of grade assessment for our 3rd graders, so we have a benchmark to determine how much they've run. So we weren't testing enough, we're testing more. In fact, today, if you heard any of your children come home who are in the 3rd grade, they had a little sample test today to get used to the concept of bubbling and things like that, because for some of them, this will be their first time taking a standardized test. So that will be on August 30th, to make sure sure we get lots of sleep and have a good breakfast on those days for our third graders.
And just speak to that statement.
Yes, state mandated, and it correlates with the EOGs or end of grade exams as well. So it gives us a front and back end to the students' growth over the year. For September, you'll see the High School Student Government Association holding their elections, so get ready for some fanfare on campus as campaigns kick off. And our National Honor Society activities will kick off in September as well. On September 12th, we will host our School Picture Day. And just as a reminder to family and friends that are listening, it is also a fundraiser for the school. So if you do purchase packages, some of the portions, the proceeds of those packages do come back to the school. It is sort of a self-natural type fundraiser. So if you were thinking twice about purchasing a package and know that some of the proceeds would go to school, perhaps that might help you to make that decision. But again, all students will participate regardless of whether or not they choose to purchase a package, and we'll use those pictures for our yearbooks and for our student records. And also, all of our staff need to be prepared because we'll pull you in for pictures as well. On September 15th, believe it or not, before we have our next board meeting, we'll already be issuing our first progress reports. With our early start date of August 15th, we'll be partway through our first quarter prior to our next board meeting. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that academic progress is happening at lightning speed here on these charters. And that concludes my report for today.
Thank you. So any questions, comments, or otherwise?
You shared that feedback for parents about co-start.
I've not heard anything about it at all. It's only been honored.
The question was whether or not we heard any feedback on the early start, and Ms. Johnson shared that it's all been positive feedback to date, and I think our enrollment also is a testament to that. We were targeting a 925 enrollment, and we were hovering at 920, even with us starting almost 2 weeks prior to the traditional calendar. So I think that shows that our families were excited about the change, or at least agreeing to it.
The biggest problem is the exam dates at that Christmas. Everybody is very pleased with that. And the biggest remarks.
Susan, can you remind us of what the schedule is going to be for the SIP, for the report out of the previous academic year and the planning or review?
So for the school improvement plan, I believe we'll start reporting on that at the September board meeting so that we can give you updates on what, they've already had their first meeting, and they actually had it voluntarily in the summer months before school started to get their heads around what information was available from 15, 16. Had a good, robust conversation about what edits or improvements might need to be made. So we should be ready to bring that to you at the September meeting with those recommended updates, which will be nominal because it is a 2-year plan. And then we can also start looking toward our success towards those goals, which is much more critical. This is to show that we're evaluating our success toward the state goals.
And so is there any way to receive the document prior to the board meeting so we might be able to review? Sometimes it's a lot of information for us just to sit at a board meeting and try to appropriately digest and comment on.
Certainly not how much we have to do. That's
If we do it with the board packet.
It'd be great if we could have it and then provide some interrogatories that maybe could be answered and to make it more of a productive, interactive process.
So if we target a week prior, 7 days prior, we think please provide feedback by such and such a date, if you'd like a response during the board meeting.
That'd be great.
Perfect.
Suggestion.
Any other questions? Having heard none, we'll move to the consent agenda. If you were reviewing your packets, there are 2 consent items, one of which is appears to be the senior class trip. The 2 senior class advisors have proposed for a graduating class of 2017 trip to Universal Studios or Universal Resort in Disney World. My question on this is, all the insurances or checks and balances has been reviewed and references for any travel company or anything?
The 2 senior advisors are in the audience, if you'd like them to
They're
address
wel-
what.
Please, yes. It doesn't bite.
It's
The question was, typically, and this is based on previous history and some issues that have come up, is there a travel company through this, or a charter bus, or what, how is this being?
there is,
I don't really need this. There is a charter bus that we've used before. Did I put the name, send the name to you? Because I left my briefcase home. But we have used this charter bus before. And that's chartered. And as far as a travel company, no, I contacted Universal Resorts myself. And
Good.
I discussed all of and negotiated all the prices with them.
Dave, do we have any requirements for COIs or anything?
I'm just gonna say the bus company, we probably need to see a lot from them. We also need to make,
Same as Southern Express.
we also need to make sure that indemnity clause is on there with all state contracts. So,
I can get that.
you know, the school sponsored trip, it's like a field trip, so, we do have coverage for those types of things, so. Indemnity clause, yeah. And I would suggest they have minimum limits of me to me. I'm sure they do. They're busting.
Any other questions? Any objection to the school-sponsored senior trip? Any of those contingencies? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is the contract approval for speech, language, and occupational therapy services. Name of the company. It's a lady.
Ebenezer Professional Services.
Where is it?
C3, there's sectional children's,
It's Carolina.
children's there,
There's no one on here for this.
CCP. Is it the same one we had last year?
This was the broadcast.
we reviewed that executive committee.
Yeah. She's very professional. And Zora was,
Okay.
Zora was school.
Okay. Recommend putting her name, independent contractor name. Any other discussion? Okay.
We need a motion.
We need a motion.
Motion we approve. Consent items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Consent agenda is approved unanimous. Next, we have our committee reports, beginning with the executive committee. As a member of the executive committee, we met on August the 18th. And welcomed our new treasurer, Rodney Dunn. Discussed a number of housekeeping items with the beginning of the school year, transitional and logistical issues, incidents, and challenges, none of which were dramatic but were more for informational purposes. We did discuss, for the purpose of knowing that we're staying up on new legislation, the pending new overtime regulations with the Fair Labor Standards Act amendment, take new wage and hour overtime will take effect December 1. That will be monitored. We will be compliant with that. There will be some requirements to review some existing staff that may be salaried, that may change to hourly or from exempt to non-exempt. There also may be some that will now become eligible for overtime in the event, whereas in the past they were not due to this new regulation. We reviewed that. Obviously, the overtime and the salary and payroll expense will be closely monitored on behalf of Ms. Johnson and Ms. Williams, and they are responsible for that. Another item that was brought and discussed would be the approval of employment contracts that have been offered under contingent basis since our last meeting. As required by statute, the board must approve all personnel decisions. These contracts are, help me out, Susan, are they in here or do we have these? Okay. We did discuss the contingent offers of the staff that have already been mentioned by Ms. Pulley, and those will be discussed in closed session as appropriate. Any other comments from executive committee that anyone?
Did we take action to approve any of the employment contracts and studies for board members?
We did discuss, we did give the approval per the executive committee to move forward with the employment contracts. My understanding is in the closed session, we will discuss those.
If we voted to approve anything during the executive committee, it needs to be ratified by the rest of the board. Not for details, but the fact that we voted to.
But not in the closed session.
Well, we already.
Did we already, that's what I'm
You already
saying.
got it.
We previously already voted at the executive committee to approve a couple of contracts, not a couple more.
I'll move that the full
Chair.
board ratify the approval of employment contracts.
Motion
Second.
and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Ratification and approval of contracts carries unanimous. That closes executive committee. Next up will be finance committee. Done.
The finance committee did meet, we did not make any changes to the forecasted budget. We still stand at showing, we're tracking about a $50,000 surplus for this year. We'll have a more accurate picture next month as the final ADM comes in. All of the new staff will be on board, so we'll update the budget monthly to reflect those changes. So by September, we'll have all of that updated. Feel very confident where we're at. As always, we want to get our fundraising really going. It's not the good thing is it's not to close the budget gap this year. It's actually to give our new ED in the schools some resources to even push us further along, especially around the facilities. We got a lot of feedback from the new kindergarten meeting about how much they appreciate that. So we do want to get that back in motion working as well. What I would say is, did get a chance to attend the Financial Business Services Conference that's sponsored by DPI. Ms. Boydman and myself attended. A lot of good information there that we learned, made some good connections, built a relationship. Spent some time with Ms. Shao. She's the head of finance services with DPI. Spent some time. She was very complimentary of our school, and she was aware of the audit situation and stuff from last year. We look forward to working through that as we move forward. Did learn a little bit about the audit scenario as far as the LGC, the local government commission, and how that's supposed to be submitted in a timely fashion to prevent anything from last year. It was just a procedural thing. It's just a deadline. So from that perspective, I would say we're in really good shape. We did not have to leverage the full line of credit that we had. We had a subset of that. So we actually budgeted in our next year's forecast to have to repay the full $200,000. So we didn't use that, so we expect some of that surplus to even come in higher. But like I said, we have to work out 80 on the final numbers and get all of that out. So, but overall, we're in good shape.
Maybe I missed this when you said, sir, I know last year they were debating like legislation on deciding what the actual amount was going to be per student in like October, and so we operated for a couple months. Is there any chance that that amount is going to change on us again, or are we?
It's already set. They set it early this year, so next year.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to fluctuate, I mean, our budget's based on 925 ADM, so if that comes under 5, say at 920, then we're 5 short, which basically is about 35,000 short, but like Rodney said, we didn't access the whole line of credit. So we got a little cushion in there, and I did bring up to Rodney, I just noticed that it's a $56,000 contract with speech services. Really, most is like 30.
how does final number come in and where we track. We like to have the goal to be able to notify that in our November board meeting for the December payout. So, but again, as we always disclaimer, that's going to be where we're tracking for the year and what the budget number will look.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to add, Rodney's done a fabulous job heading up the finance committee and really rolling up the sleeves and being interactive not only with the staff but with Acadia and really sought to truly understand what's going on. I think he's got a great grasp of how we're, not where we are now, but also where we're going in the future. So way to get right.
Personnel has no report at this time. Audit.
We have to schedule an academic subcommittee. Now that your staff has had the smoothest start ever, as you reported, then we should be able to schedule our academic subcommittee. And this year, I think one of the goals should be to expand initially as we kind of worked out what the mission and purpose was of the committee, that hopefully in the coming months we can expand the committee beyond the immediate administration and board.
Resource development.
Budget has $20,000 for fundraising this year for the school itself. That's non-PTO, non-booster club. So, communicate with Eric Brown over the summer. And Eric's got some good ideas. Rodney's got some good ideas. We just need to get all together on the same page. And I've got some ideas about how we can easily raise 20. So, there.
Easily raised.
Easily raised. So,
It's on the record, Mr. Nubbins.
Given some of the immediate facility needs that Ms. Pulliam just outlined, I think we need both easily and quickly.
Board development.
So we've had a discussion with Ms. Pulliam over several school policies that we are creating. And I don't know if you want to give an update on any of the, do you have an update on like the textbook policy, or is that per the last meeting in progress?
I didn't know if you wanted to discuss it in greater detail.
Well, you can wait till when you have it ready to present. So we're looking to receive a presentation on the college credit textbook reimbursement policy, the virtual public school policy, facilities has been, so we can take that off that has been already presented and approved, and Michelle is still working on the delegation of authority policy. I did want to also begin the discussion about moving on our comprehensive compensation plan, and have just outlined some items which would be board policies that would become part of the plan. Some we already have an element, like the salary plan that Rodney and took the lead on working out, but we need to shift it into an actually a policy statement. That would be a form or procedure that's part of the policy. But we actually need a salary plan policy. Some policies we already have, but things that would be included in a comprehensive compensation plan would be our benefit statement, retirement, leave, contracts, evaluation, minimum wage, probation period, educational attainment, hiring policy, which you already have, overtime eligibility, which Tony just mentioned, exempt versus non-exempt, bonus incentive plans. So these are just some of the key elements as we start working towards this comprehensive plan.
well, Tony would obviously be the likely choice to put that together since he's in HR. I mean, not volunteering for these. He would be the first choice, and if I had to move that,
I think many of the elements we already some elements we need to turn into an actual policy statement, and then some we have forms, but it's not a match to an actual policy. And all of these would have to be board policy, so I don't want us to lose a lot of time on moving on, because we've made some statements like, what is the policy that we discussed that would start with new faculty that we hired?
12, 10, 12 months.
Yes, so that's like an actual policy statement that we have to create. So I just don't want us to not continue to work on it every month.
Yep.
So maybe Tony and I can take a stab, since we already have the actual elements of the salary plan, to work on a policy, and that would be the very first one.
And I've got, you probably have something about the comp, but I've got some things, some resources that we can use for the comp. We might have to share those.
And then even as Ronnie just mentioned, bonus, we might have to outline what that, really just your statement, we could craft into a policy in terms of how we would handle bonus/incentive every single year.
Very good. Report. Guess we would have different lanes represented by the board. I guess in your lane, there's no need to volunteer, you just will be stuck with it, right? Mr. Communications. And media. No problem. Thank you, Tom. Let's see. Chris is not here for facilities. Is there any?
Yeah, I can update you a little bit. Chris did talk to Chris, and I wanted to share the good news that we did come on slightly under budget on the kindergarten wing.
Excellent.
So that'll go far. Lee is probably close on the loan sometime late September maybe, and as soon as we close on the loan, then that's when our payments will start. So we have that in budget, so no surprise.
Slightly under budget, that funding then becomes available for what?
I don't,
Or it's
I
not?
think it reverts back to USDA. We just have a lower payment. Yeah.
I'm thinking of the fence. Sorry.
Can we attach it to the kindergarten wing? If we attach it to the school, the kindergarten is attached to the school. It's attached to the sidewalks.
So we did run under when we built this building, so that carryovers amount allows us to go back to USDA without having to go to 9 years. So I know there's a good thing going on right now, built that we can finance.
And Ronnie, hit the nail on the head there, that was big in terms of our fees. We had to pay an extra fee to an intermediary to handle that. So coming to the budget with this bill is really helping get that way. Built on. So.
Any other update facilities? Communications?
Is it on yet? Mr. Chairman, I apologize for a highly busy August, and I intended to call the communications committee together at some point. There are a couple of members here in the room, one big absent one right over here, to get our new executive director up to speed on what we tried to do and what we recommended last year. But 5 concerts in 3 days prevents it.
How many gigs did you get?
Pocket full. Yeah, so, and I'm sure that, being a teacher and, in the office and everybody was a little busy this month anyway, so, yes, you were, yeah, you say you were. Okay, so,
Not a problem.
I intend to convene in September, sir.
Well, we got a hurricane coming next week, so be ready for communications. I'm already being asked if we're going to get out of school.
We need to go drop this stuff in the east.
Yes, I have.
I saw them yesterday, they were saying, now this cloud, that might well it's going to drop in the storm. And it does. And they showed like 100 different, scenarios. I'm like, really?
We, just for the audience at hand and for the record of video, we get NOAA weather reports, we get advanced weather warnings. You don't have to give us the link to WRAL. We are aware of the weather.
A member of the media,
Yeah.
as far as you know.
Capital campaign. Anything, Dave or Rodney?
So we met, we ended up from last year, about $11,000 between the board donation, which was about 10 of that, and the PayPal stuff getting on. Chris and I did meet with Eric for a few minutes and talked about just the school getting started, everything was so chaotic, the school was brand new, we kind of paused and let her get her breath to get school started back. So we'll probably be circling back meeting with her here in the next couple of weeks to just really start to plan out how we want to approach it, and she can have some follow conversations with Booster and PTO about getting that aligned. We've got a lot of parents that are really interested and engaged, which is pretty exciting. You know, with school coming back, a lot of people got different ideas on how they're going to do it. We just want to kind of organize it and do it kind of a single big thing thread to raise the money versus it tracking it and scattered throughout the year. So I'd say by next month, we should have a pretty good plan in place of how we're going to do it. Look, a lot of parents have asked me about, like, you know, we got to make it easier for them to donate money. I had 2 or 3 parents this week that wanted to buy, you know, bouncing balls for a classroom because they found out, like, you know, a donor's shoes didn't work and some grandparents were broken and stuff. So I think there's some low-hanging fruit where we can just make it a little bit easier for people.
Thank you. Any old business for discussion?
One thing, with Melissa being out, you know, she and I worked on the insurance renewal contract. Don't forget about the in-house seminars. Okay. All right, I will. I don't necessarily have an access link to that, but somebody needs to know who our agent is, and I can get you in touch with our agent and all that stuff. And they should be able to facilitate the link, and it's through Selective, and it's just a huge amount of resources.
Good deal, thanks, Dave. New business?
Well, does this field trip have to be voted on tonight by the board of directors? Because it has a signature down there by you guys.
Consent agenda?
It's for the consent for the senior trip?
We approved.
Okay, because I didn't hear a vote or anything, so I just wanted to make sure.
It was under, we approved the consent agenda.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
One new item we should discuss. We actually, so what we have is a signature card with KS Bank in regards to signature approvals. We need a board authorized change to make those. After discussing it at the finance committee and as we the recommendation we would put forward is there's a number of accounts at the bank that just from a historical purpose is in there. You know, I think we should clean that up a little bit just to streamline it, just to simplify things. There's a Founders Club account. We had moved those funds over to the operating budget account, right? My understanding is just this issue was solved. Unless there's any objection, I just moved. That's no problem. We should just close that account out.
If I may, we're referencing the staff member at the bank, if you could use her last name, so they don't think I'm transferring.
Aaron, I believe is her name.
Susan Aaron.
And so the Founders Club, unless the school is using, there's an international field trip fund that was there. I would say we would close that one out as long as pretty much all the fundraising money for field trips is flowing through the operating account anyway. And then there's a couple accounts for, there's the operating account, there were some previous signers on there. Rather than going through who we removed, the motion would be just to add the finance committee members, Paul, myself, and Dave Neville as signers on the operating account. And then also for the Macon CS grade account, same thing, it's just simple to keep the finance committee members as signers on the account for this fiscal year. And also, we'd like to make as part of that overall motion, is also make a motion that rather than requiring 2 board members as signers, just to simplify simplify things is to add our ED as Mr. William as a potential co-signer, as well as one board member. Because you've got to have two signatures passing anywhere, that way anybody on the finance committee. Because it does cause a little bit of a problem when trying to get two board members there, sign checks every week or so, she needs them to sign. And then with that, we just have the type of on letterhead, signed by Mr. President and Chair to authorize the bank to make those changes to the signing of the account. And then also, we would like to make it available so that Ms. Williams has, full transparency view to the account on a running basis, just as long as there's no ability to move or transfer money, just from a delegation and duties perspective, not just from a visibility, so she does be able to see the budget side of it. So, it's a lot of verbiage, but basically, I make a motion that we update the operating account as well as the make NCS a great account for the finance committee members of the day. That will all already done as the signers, and then add Mr. William as a co-signer for checks.
Yeah, I was gonna, is this, question? I would second the motion, but I have some discussion. Is that the extent of the signature card? Those three people and Ms. Boyd?
The idea of the finance committee is that the people that are most into the finances would be the signers on checks. So the people that are meeting every month in the finance committee would obviously know the cash flow and be familiar with the budget as we, as I said, micromanage funds for this year. So, I guess that's the reason for that. So,
Are you worried about?
no, I'm not worried about anything. It's just a matter of actually allocating funds.
Yeah, just for the record, currently on the operating account, for signers, one reason we're making changes, there was Lisa Freitas at that meeting, there was David Neville, Chris Johnson was there, Lee Jackson was still there, because Kevin now is the treasurer and stuff.
Maurice Dredd is still on there. Working
On
on
one of the accounts, so we just kind of.
And I guess my next question would be, for the executive director, would we be able to, you said there was some restrictions on her ability, she could see the accounts, but there was some restrictions on what she could do with them. Is that a thing where we would maybe require her to be a counter signature only signature? In other words, she can't sign anything by herself?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
The way those checks are cut, it requires both signatures.
Right.
Yes, always require two signatures.
And the bank would have to have board approval or finance committee approval to transfer any funds to, like today, for example, to release payroll. The executive director, number one, doesn't want that responsibility. And number two, it just protects her and protects us too. So,
Still require your signatures, two signatures for the finance committee.
And we will check, we will check the details of the actual signature card is what I'm going to try. The thing, as soon as just because you're on a signature card, you can take those other actions now. Transferring money. But I don't think that's the case. We'll double check if it is. We might put it on there. So,
and I would propose that we go this route, but if it's an issue, obviously get the two board signatures when everybody, all the boards all over the place. And Susan, you had took a couple months to chase us down, so to speak. It's done. It's done.
I guess my question was, are you removing, the existing, Chris, for example?
Yeah, it's simply because just with the three, if we can get her on there as one, we only need one, we've got three people over, they're all on the finance committee.
Let's Vegas is here in Japan. I guess not. That's the way it did happen last year.
It wasn't very
About once every year or something.
Hopefully spending money is not kind of last minute. Hopefully there'll be some
Right.
planning
or just three. I mean, I've got no objection. Have we got a second on the motion?
I second
You
it.
second?
Or Jimmy second.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah,
Okay.
I guess the second is you make a motion.
So the amendment would be to keep Jimmy and Chris on there.
Is that an amendment?
With the,
As an amendment with the understanding that staff will go to the finance committee first for counter signature.
Okay, the motion is to have finance committee members, the executive director on the signature card, along with two previous past chairmen of the board. Been approved too, but my name's on the most of
for I think the motion on the floor is for 4 names, so you either have to amend the motion or the motion has to be.
it. We added the amendment of
Friendly
two.
to
So that's the friendly amendments going on right now.
Right. So that would be finance committee, which consists of myself, Rodney, Paul Worley, and then continue to leave Jimmy Lloyd and Chris Johnson.
And add the executive director.
And now the executive director, right, really, that's Chris Johnson.
That fall,
Right.
Of which one signature must be finance committee, is that what we said?
Protocol is for one signature to the finance committee unless everybody's out of town.
Okay.
And just the reason for that is obviously, we will see the flow of money.
I agree with the intent based on
On the
the incidents and history we had in the previous 9 months.
But I do think that that would require I know sometimes when people are right in front of you and it's easy to mark something off your to-do list, but that should not then preclude trying to find a finance committee member and arrange for the signatures versus just trying to sign for convenience. And maybe Jimmy just happens to be in the building.
I mean, I'm friendly,
You're friendly.
I'm okay with the friendly amendment as the second on the motion. I didn't propose the motion, so.
Well, we have a friendly and we have a second. Any other discussion? Haven't heard none. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Having heard none, the motion and amendment pass unanimous.
Make a motion, we go to closed session for personnel and administrative discussions.
Motion to go into closed session. Is there a second? Second. Open session is. Pause for closeout. Adjourn for now. We will return eventually. Okay, we are re-adjourning the reconvening. Reconvening from closed session to open session. I will entertain a motion to re-enter open session. Second. Okay, we are back into open session after being in closed session. The August 23rd New Start School Board of Directors meeting. Any discussion from closed session?
Yes, I make a motion that for new teachers coming in, they're on a 10-month teaching contract. However, they'll be paid on an 11-month scale. Second.
Motion is teachers coming in on a 10-month contract will be paid on an 11-month scale.
Yes, August 1st through June 30th.
August 1st through June 30th will be the contract period. And
No, that will be paid.
that'll be the pay period. Excuse me. 10-month employees paid on an 11-month scale.
Correct.
For this for 2016-17 fiscal year ending June 30th.
Correct.
Any other discussion?
Does this have finance committee recommendation?
It does.
Thank you.
Yes.
Does have the recommendation for the finance committee. Any other discussion? Having heard none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimous.
I make a motion to accept
accept the two positions presented by Ms. Pulliam, the office manager and accounts receivable payable.
Motion to accept the recommendation of Executive Director of adding new position of accounting clerk, or position to be determined, title to be determined, and new office manager position. We have a motion. Second. Is there a second? And a second. Any further discussion?
Does this have finance committee approval?
It does, yes.
Thank you.
Motion has Finance Committee's recommendation and approval for budgetary purposes. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Having heard none, the motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, several to the second, in discussion.